Okay, all right, Mr. Golis here. All right, this is attempt number 85 at making a video for you guys. So hopefully it'll work this time. What I wanted you guys to learn about, and you need to know about this topic called system of units, and that when we measure things in various systems like the metric system or the English system, you have to kind of keep certain units together, because if you don't, other quantities called that are measured with something called compound units kind of get screwed up, like force, for example, all right, or acceleration or things like that. So here it is basically here, and I got it on a whiteboard, so I hope you guys can see this. But the topic is system of units, and you're kind of responsible for it. Not that it's hard. That's why I'm doing the video thing. Okay, and the first type, all right, and let me get this. Here we go. First system is called the MKS system. And MKS stands for meters, kilograms, and seconds. All right. What that means is that if you measure length in meters, like that, and you're doing an experiment, in the same experiment, if you measure a mass, you have to do it in kilograms. Okay. Why? Because sometimes you're doing with calculations with meters and kilograms. For example, to find out what is the force on an object, and you're trying to measure that indirectly in some way. And when you measure force in the MKS system, it's a compound unit, and that stands for, or actually the compound units on force are meters, kilograms per second squared. Kind of weird, and we call that a Newton. Okay? All right. So here we are, just to recap MKS. All right. So you have length is in meters, mass is in kilograms, and time is in seconds in the MKS system, and force is in something called a Newton. It's a metric unit of force. That's equal to about a quarter of a pound. All right, because you're from America, so that's what you can think in terms of. The second system is called the CGS system. That's basically the metric system, except on a smaller scale. CGS stands for centimeters, grams, and seconds. So if you're doing an experiment and you're measuring some sort of length in centimeters, all right. Now, where would you do that? In my experience, when I was working at URI as a grad student, I used to work down in the nuclear reactor at times, and we used to measure neutrons going through samples of metals like copper or things like that, and we would measure the speed of the neutrons in centimeters per second. So it was a CGS system. The unit of force in the CGS system is not a Newton. All right, it's a gram or centimeter per second squared, and that has a name. We call that compound unit the dyne. So there you have it, and there we go. Okay. So in the CGS system, force is measured in something called a dyne. Time is in seconds, mass is in grams, and length is in centimeters. The third system you know of because you grew up in America, and that's called the FPS system. That's what we use. It's not very scientific, but it's very practical. So if you go to Home Depot, you're going to buy lumber in 4 by 8 sheets of plywood, 4 foot by 8 foot. You buy 2 by 4s by 8s and stuff like that. So if you're building a shed, our system is actually very practical. Okay, and it's called the FPS system for foot, pound, and seconds. A little bit different in the sense that, all right, so length is in feet, foot. Okay, there is no real good unit of mass. Okay, so there's that. Time is in seconds again, so you have that. And force is in we know this as the pound. And there it is. Okay. So that's the FPS system. We're not going to use that too much in this class, okay? Just because because it's a science class, so we tend to use the metric system. What you just need to remember is what the three systems are, what the letters stand for, and it kind of makes sense. MKS, meters, kilograms, seconds, things like that. And that you need to keep the units together in the same system when you're measuring and doing calculations. So in other words, when you're doing calculations, you can't do one number in meters and multiply it by another number in centimeters. It doesn't work. You need to keep things in the same system. Okay? So you need to remember that. Alright, that's basically it. You guys are kind of responsible for this. Well, it's not kind of responsible. You're responsible for this information. If you guys have any questions, see me at Academic Lab or things like that. Okay? Alright.